You grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and we are back and better than ever. What a busy time that we have got going on right now. Last week, Daniel Tiller was back with the 3 most asked questions about Database Watcher. Then on Tuesday, we released our first full episode of Mentally Stable-ish Male Vulnerability, and our second episode, Burnout, went live today. Check it out on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast at. More than likely, we are there. And also on our YouTube channel, we've got it streaming there as well. Then this Monday, we started a new bi-weekly tradition where we are leading up to the road to Live 360. We had our first time where we had Thomas LaRock in here co-hosting with myself, Neeraj Jhaveri, and Daniel Taylor. And we had Know Before You Go for Live 360. If you're interested in that conference, you're going to want to make sure and check that out. We talked about how you can travel from the airport, different modes of transportation. We talked about some of the restaurants in the surrounding area, the wonderful things about the conference. And also, I did my best impression of Josh talking about being on the luscious grounds of the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort.
Now, one thing I'm concerned about, I wasn't on the episode. Did you volunteer me to be an Uber again like you did a few years ago? Because
you know what? There's so much to get to, Josh. We don't want to miss a thing. But yes, if this is your first time finding your way over to Tales from the Field, give us a like and give us a subscribe. We drop content on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Good transition there, right? If you want to be a part of the show, it is so easy to do so. All you have to do is make a comment on the stream, and one of my amazing co-hosts will take that comment. They will put it on the screen and you will be a part of the show. Before we go any further, let me introduce those amazing co-hosts. I am joined by Uber extraordinaire, the man in the hat, Mr. Josh Luedeman, the best beard in the business, Mr. Andres Padilla. Our Robin Hood, Mr. Marco Aurelio Cardoso, is out sick. We wish him a quick recovery. We love you, Marco, and we hope you're doing good, buddy. And then I complimented Neeraj's I complimented Andreas's beard, and Andreas was like, "I'm out," you know. Daniel Taylor, the mountain man, is with us, and
hey.
Neeraj has returned to the round table. It is your friend and mine, Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri. James Phillips. Hey, James, good to see you, my friend. I want an Uber ride from Josh. Josh, you're on deck. There we go. James, let us know when you're coming into MCO. Josh does not mind the 3 a.m. pickup time. By the way, while we're here, you're part of the Azure Data Community.
My name is Bradley Ball Smoking today.
We want you to be a part of the Azure Data Community. So make sure and go over to the Azure Data Community site by Microsoft. Find a user group, submit your user group if you're not a part of it, or go check out the newsletter. This is a wonderful place to find those local user groups in your community and make sure that you are an active part of them. And after you go to Microsoft Community, you find yourself a user group. What do we want you to do? Well, we want you to get some free training. Go over to SQLSaturday.com, one of the best places in the business to be able to find this. We've got some wonderful events coming up. I'm going to point you to 2 in particular. October the 5th, SQL Saturday Boston, where our own Daniel Taylor will be there. And then also SQL Saturday Orlando 2024, where myself, Dan Taylor, and then Andreas Padilla is going to be there. Our good buddy Steve Hughes is here. Hey, Steve, it is so great to see you. Boy, we got a great update coming from Steve Hughes. Dan was up there this past weekend at the ALS walk, and man, I love you. We all think the world of you, and I'm so glad. Dan, I'm jealous of you. You got to see so much of Steve's family and being able to hang out with them. It was just a wonderful, wonderful time for you. After SQL Saturday, though, I am going to direct you over to Data Saturday. In particular, I'm going to focus on Dallas, where my good buddy James Phillips is helping to run the SQL Saturday over in Dallas. You're going to want to make sure and check that out. They've got a wonderful crew, and they've got a whole bunch of wonderful speakers at that event. You are not going to want to miss SQL Saturday Dallas. Data Saturday Dallas. And then if you're a fabricator like me, we are getting close. Next month is the month we're going to have the European Microsoft Fabric Conference out in the beautiful, beautiful city of Stockholm, Sweden. You're going to want to check this out, but you're also, if you can't make it to Stockholm, you're going to want to stay tuned because there are so much amazing, wonderful things that are going to be announced at that conference, such as we can't tell you. We can't tell you yet. Stay tuned. But we're going to be talking about all the wonderful stuff that comes out of there. As a matter of fact, our Microsoft Fabric update in October will drop the first week in October, right after the conference, and we will be covering all of the wonderful things from the conference there. Again, if you're a fabricator, one other thing, love that shirt, Dan. Yeah, Dan, go ahead, pop it up there.
I was going to say, you had me sweating there that you were going to share some of the secrets before we could there. We'd have to do.
Give me a good look at your shirt. There you go. Walk to defeat ALS, data on wheels. There we go. That's the good stuff I like to see. Excellent. Well, and no secrets. No secrets will leave our lips. We will be talking about this in its due course. But if you're also a fabricator, check out our Microsoft Fabric Learning group that we have over on LinkedIn. 3,500 strong and consistently growing, wonderful place to interact. And some of the content, if you are a creator, that is featured on our Learn channel is going to be featured today on the roundtable, and we got it from there. We were inspired by you, the community. One last thing I do want you to check out: Mentally Stable-ish. Mentally Stable-ish is the podcast. Burnout is out. Male vulnerability is out. We all suffer from this. We go through a checklist in burnout. Josh called it my bingo card, and sadly, I think we were all winning. If it was a lottery, we would have been very excited, but we were all winning at burnout, which is not a normal goal. Andreas, talk to me, Goose. What do you got going on? What'd you do this weekend?
Oh, the kids started soccer, and I needed Uber rides. So I'm hoping, but there's a stipulation. I think Josh said in his description on Uber that he allows muddy shoes, and I tend to take off my shoes in the car. So is that okay, Josh? Can you drive us around?
Not even close, bro. No.
Why not?
No. This is not a certain budget airlines where it's okay to put your feet out of your shoes on the person in front of you's armrest. This is not what I run here. No.
Well, so Josh has already said, what time are you getting in, James? And as I understand it, he just confirmed shoes are optional. He likes it if you put your feet up on the dash. Josh does not allow talking. I don't know, Dan. Maybe he could just put on some earmuffs or something like that.
I'm glad this channel is marked with not with child content because I just called you out on your bull. Yeah.
I was going to say we've dropped so many curse words and you stop at bull. Yeah.
No, I wasn't even thinking when he was saying that, or when you were saying that I'm okay with people with their feet on the dash. I'm sitting over here going, bullshit.
There it is.
Think about
there's
it. There's
the man in the Star Wars hat.
Explore the space.
I was going to say it's fitting that it's Star Wars. Yes, Josh. Let your anger consume you. Tell me what you think about those feet on your
dark
dash.
side with you, buddy.
With every sock and feet on the dashboard, you come closer and closer to the dark side. And I'm not even sure he knows what's going on anymore. But I know what's going on. I know what's going on. We've got Neeraj Jhaveri talking about Microsoft Fabric metadata-driven pipelines with mirrored databases by the absolutely fantastic Jean Hayes. Jean is one of our colleagues on Fast Track, and she just knocks it out of the park with her blogs over and over and over again. This one just had me going from start to finish. It involved database mirroring, involved metadata-driven pipelines, and then we cap it off by including Fabric Data Warehouse in there. You had me at hello, Jean. Neeraj, take it away. What do we got here?
Amazing blog. I mean, she had a blog probably last year where she did a metadata-driven pipeline. I think we also published that out in the roundtable. This is extension to that blog. I mean, now she's doing the meta databases along with it. She's going over the architectural overview, how what needs to be done. One thing that she definitely makes it very easy. Mirroring is very easy. Like, it's no minimal coding, and moving the data from one database to another to Fabric SQL is really easy.
Oh yeah, it's a flip of a switch.
It's a flip of a switch, yes. So definitely, and I know, Brad, you have a couple of videos on the Tales from the Field, how to do the mirroring and all that stuff. I know Idris had presented out. mirroring is definitely the way to go if you have to move the database from Azure SQL to Fabric. That's one of the way to do it. Then she goes over step by step how to set this up, mirroring and all this stuff, and the metadata part of it. Amazingly written down blog. I mean, she just wrote it up, and I was amazed reading it up also. So
absolutely fantastic, great stuff. Way to keep going, Gene. I love it. And you know what Josh loves? Josh loves it when you take off your socks and you just put your bare feet on his dashboard.
You're never riding in my car again.
Well, you never let me ride in the front seat anyway.
Well, now I know you're fine with feet and stuff all over the car. Now I don't even want to ride in your car.
Mission accomplished. I'm going to drop the banner right now. There we go. All right. And we're talking mission accomplished with another great blog. This is Miles Cole. Miles Cole, I believe, is a newcomer to the roundtable. He's a program manager at Microsoft, and he covers optimizing Spark, a deep dive into optimized write in Microsoft Fabric. One of the things I love about this is he talks about what is optimized write. He talks about traditional writes and optimized writes. And then he also shows how to be able to set this configuration on, understanding when to be able to use it and why to be able to use it. So there's a couple key things that he covers, and the optimized write really gets around files. And when you get a whole bunch of really, really small files on a distributed system like Spark, doesn't matter what Spark engine you're utilizing, it can cause some performance issues. And optimized write, what it does is it takes those files and it chunks them together into bigger files. So that way we get optimized write patterns. So we're reading and writing in more optimized fashion. So he's got a lot of wonderful things that he covers in here. I'm not going to give it all away, but you can see different performance impact, different data he does, wonderful takeaways on how to be able to use this. And he even has some wonderful closing thoughts. But Miles Cole, great blog. He's got some interesting stuff. Andreas, there was some stuff on there with Spark on Databricks that I immediately went, oh, this is going to tickle Andreas's fancy. He's going to love it. So a lot of good stuff. I expect we're going to see Miles Cole on here again. All right. Now, speaking of someone that we're seeing on here again, well, who are we seeing? We're seeing the wonderful Kendra Little, presented by the wonderful Mr. DBA Bulldog Daniel Taylor. We've got, please compress your indexes and shrink your database if you use Azure SQL Managed Instance. I'm immediately interested in this, Dan. What do we got going on here?
So first off, I want to thank Kendra for hopefully the longest title of the week. Woo woo! I get it. I think I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. No, I love. I've really enjoyed watching Kendra's journey with Managed Instance over the past 5-6 months, because not only is Kendra honest and open, she shares the good things and the things that you need to look out for with respect to Managed Instance. And once again, she knocks it out the park here. In this post, Kendra talks about using compression on your data. And I know somebody who I learned compression from many, many years ago. There, Mr. Balls, with your session, compressing your tables way back in the day. I always enjoyed those. But she goes through here using page compression on our data so we could save some space and utilize our memory. Because why? Because our storage sizes are tied to our vCore allocation also of managed instances. So if you want to save some money and have a well-architected framework, you got to make sure those databases or those tables are the correct size, right? So that you can properly size your environments. And then don't shrink too far, because this is V1. Next Gen is really going to help with this. But if you're not able to use something that's in preview, she calls out, make sure that you're going to get the IOPS you're expecting with those database files. And then some comparisons of why the cloud is different. And then finishes the article off with, I do like managed instances, and that she's excited about the future and why she does like managed instances. I love this. I love an article that challenges our way of thinking when we're using a PaaS service like managed instance.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. She's got the throughputs per file. And I know when it comes to VNext, some things are a little bit different, especially with the IOPS and the don't shrink too far. So I think some of that guidance can actually change if you're on a managed instance vNext, and that's an important thing to note.
Yep, and she calls it out there. Yeah, definitely. So, for example, with 2 terabytes of storage and 4 vCores, I believe it is, you can get up to 6,500 IOPS for your complete managed instance. So you don't have to waste that space. So if you only had 150 gig database, but you need those IOPS, you would have to grow that out and waste that space and pay extra for that. With next gen, nope, you just set it and forget it, and you get those IOPS. And we'll be talking about that a little bit probably in some of our upcoming sessions at Live 360, as well as Future Data Driven Summit, Brad. So
absolutely, I'm looking forward to those sessions. Speaking of something I'm looking forward to this next article. Whenever I hear from this gentleman, he's always talking about something that's interesting, fascinating, that I have not considered. And of course, I'm talking about the best beard in the business, Mr. Andres Padilla, with how long should you train your language model? Andres, how long should I train my language model?
Longer than you think. And I hope I'm not being my connection is not choppy, because I am getting some choppy response. So you guys let me know if it is choppy, and if I'm all good to go. What I love about this article is the authors, they went for a 5-star rating, just like Josh does when he gives Uber rides and lets you do whatever you want in your car. These guys came up with the chinchilla scaling factor. Who doesn't love a great chinchilla? My son, who's an avid, animal fanatic, loves the chinchilla. But these guys proposed the idea, said, hey, guess what? You're going to trade in this world of fine tuning and building your own small language models. This comes into play with the chinchilla scaling law. And they propose is, say, if you're going to train your model and it comes out, the money's going to come out either while you train it, but also when you inference it. So they propose that if you need more precise models, and the models are going to be hit continually by a lot of users, train it longer, develop a smaller language model, which costs you less to host, which means less money comes out of your pocket. And I love that because I'm getting those questions from users, from customers today, and they're starting to ask me, hey, I need to fine tune my model, but what's the right cost or factor for me? What should I be doing? Should I be training it longer? Should it be shorter? Should I go for a smaller model? What's going to happen when I deploy it on an endpoint? How much is that going to cost it? This is a some great reference material, and gives customers a little bit of insight of finding out that happy medium of where they should be.
Absolutely. I love it. Great stuff. And James says that's a good reminder to go ahead and book travel. And then Neeraj says, so that would be the official on the Live 360 slate. If you need to reach out to a ride, go for Josh. Josh said that the disrespect for the show is real, but Neeraj is still giving him 4 stars. So I think we're good to go.
5.
Speaking
Why
of
am
things
I getting 4 stars,
where we're good to go, I give you 5 stars every single time. Just, the same number of toes per foot that I'm putting on that dashboard. But look, I give you a hard time, but we love you so much and we love your confidence. And I'm just ecstatic. You had me, Josh, when I saw Fabric in this, implementing Data Vault 2.0 on Fabric Data Warehouse, Microsoft Fabric Data Warehouse with Data Vault 2.0. Okay, talk to me about this, because this sounds fascinating.
So when about I think it's about 7 years. I worked 7 years ago. I worked with a customer that wanted to implement Data Vault in a data lake, and I've heard of a data warehouse. I've heard of other kinds of data houses. I've heard of data lakes and meshes and everything else, but Data Vault was something I wasn't aware of at the time. Started looking into it. One of the neat things about a Data Vault is, for someone who's been in very complex data warehouses before and struggled with updates, for instance, Data Vault only does inserts. There's inserts and deletes, but the deletes are only there because now we have legal reasons like GDPR and HIPAA, right? Like there's, part of the standard, in a vacuum process is just inserts into a Data Vault. So what this does is, I brought up the article because I found it said Data Vault version 2. which again, many, many years ago, since the last time I did a data vault, I wanted to look into and see what has changed. Really, after that long since I've done one, honestly look at it and relearn it at this point. But this is a great article. Walks you through. It's a good primer on the principles of data vault. Not so deep, which is good, especially for a primer, that you're going to be able to go and deploy 15 data vaults right, after reading this article. But it's good to set you up so that you understand what you're looking at, and what the basic principles of it are.
I've never set up one data vault, let alone 15. So it's good that it's not going to have me set up 15, especially if I can't delete it. I think that'd be
no. It's a good primer blog to get you set up to understand the basic principles of it and stuff like that, which is good. Another tool in the tool belt, so to speak.
Absolutely. Speaking of another tool in the tool belt, I can't help but look at this. Now, Josh actually has a session on this at Live 360. And Neeraj and I were supposed to be listed on it. I actually submitted it, but since we're not on the website, I guess it's all on Josh. But so he should pay attention to this article that Neeraj has coming up, which is acting on real-time data using custom actions with Data Activator. Tell me, Neeraj, what should Josh learn about this?
So, Josh, I completely disagree. Josh is a great host and he's a great driver. So, definitely, if I'm not an Uber or anything, but he's definitely a good person to drive you around if you need a ride. So, definitely, Josh. And that's definitely Data Activator. Yes, Josh, this is something that maybe you can add up to your things that you're presenting up in Live 360 is adding triggers to it. So one thing that people or customers always wanted is how to understand if they are running low on, like one of the examples is showing on bikes, right? If it's too hot or if the bikes are in low availabilities, the customer or the company should get a notification. So you can add a custom trigger that could give you notifications on how to do it up. So yep, right there becomes less than 5. It sends a custom notification. You can create it up using action item, and that would just definitely send it out to a notification to the required people at that point of time. You can also automate it using Power Automate. In the step 2 is showing you how to configure Power Automate to it so that you can customize this whole thing into using the Data Activator part of it. Something really cool. I was just playing around with it last week, but this definitely is a good thing to have it along with Power Automate in there.
Oh, this looks absolutely fascinating. Yep. Yeah. Well, and I love looking at how you can utilize Power Automate with this.
Josh, this can also help you out to create your Uber ride, saying, okay, 3 a.m. got a ride for this, 3 p.m.
That's fascinating. We should definitely help him with that. Speaking of something that we should help with, I found a wonderful blog about a thing that many people have wanted, Truncate. Abiyail David, who's one of our MVPs, he's got a great YouTube channel. You want to check it out, but he is specifically talking about the truncate statement capabilities, and he's got a nice little video up showing how to be able to do this. It's wonderful functionality that we have within the data warehouse. Many people have been asking for this capability, and so showing how we can utilize truncate in data warehouse, I think it's important to understand that you have those capabilities, especially when it comes to data loading patterns. Great video and really wonderful stuff. And I do love it when we get these features out there that people have been looking forward to being able to utilize. Talking about something that people have been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to this since we kicked off, and I saw our good buddy Steve Hughes was on the call. So Mr. Daniel Taylor has Fabric 5 high availability. Steve Hughes, Data on Wheels, talking to us. Steve is an MVP, and thank goodness Steve is finally an MVP because Steve was such an integral part of the community for so long that everybody was convinced he was an MVP long before he got it. So I'm so thankful that Steve is an MVP. Celebrate that all the time. One of the most influential people in my career and absolutely a brilliant mind. You got to make sure and check out this video. Dan, talk to me about what Steve's covering here.
Yeah, so Steve is starting a series on his Data on Wheels, his Fabric on 5 his Fabric 5, not Fabric on 5, Fabric 5 series. He's going to be talking about high availability and disaster recovery when it comes to Fabric. In this case, he gives us an intro to the storage behind the scenes and how they provide us with BCDR when it comes to the storage with Fabric. Also, what I loved about this video, and one of the reasons I wanted to showcase this, is because of what the ALS org has helped Steve. Steve, if you watch his previous video, had a mask that kind of hampered the way it was for him to speak. In this new video, he has his new mask, and it's amazing. It's amazing, folks. So technology is out there, but it's a great video. It's a good brief introduction on how our storage is going to be have BCDR allocated for us. And I apologize, folks. I have a wee today. I have a root canal coming in my future, so I'm stuttering a little more than usual. So we all say hi. It's talking to you right now. But definitely go out and check out this video, and I'm looking forward to more in this series here from our good friend Steve. And love you, Steve.
Absolutely. Well, and it's an important thing to cover. There's a lot about the way that we've constructed the PaaS system, the SaaS system, to be able to have that HADR capability built into it. And it's important for people to know that, because as longtime, DBAs, one of the things that we often had to do, we had to have those HADR conversations. Steve says, in the Minneapolis area on September 7th, join me at the Mall of America for the Minnesota Walk to Defeat ALS. What a fantastic cause. I mean, first off, Mall of America is a fantastic place. Minnesota, I absolutely love Minnesota. There's so many wonderful things up in Minneapolis and Minnesota. You know me, I'm a foodie. I've traveled there before. We presented there before. I absolutely love, go on Yelp. That is a great place to go visit. And that is a great cause to contribute to. Steve, keep doing the good work out there, my friend. Absolutely love that. And everybody, please go join Steve in the Minneapolis area on September the 7th.
And if you can't join him in person, join him virtually with the Data on Wheels team on ALS. So, yep, there's many ways for us to support folks like our good friend Steve and those who have ALS out there that are fighting an extremely degenerative disease. So.
Absolutely. And also, if you need a ride, remember, Josh is on Uber. Speaking of, the best beard in the business is back up, and it's Mr. Andreas Padilla with how to create a custom neural voice. Andreas, again, I'm fascinated by this. Walk me through it, buddy.
Oh, I just met Deb Adio the other day. She is doing phenomenal things over in the speech world and speech AI. Thank you, Deb, for all the guidance that you've given us. This is a great article. It's still relevant. It was published back in 2021, but everything still stands. And what the point I brought this in is because I'm seeing a lot more customers come to me in the speech AI world. They're like, okay, I want to create my own avatar. I have my call centers. I want to have my customer support. I have my telephony scenarios. I want to be able to now give it a custom voice that I create. Walk me through the process. I see more and more customers tapping into, they're in the gallery, but now the gallery voices, they like those, but they say, you know what, now I want something custom made in order to control a little bit the feel, the warmth, the pitch, the tone, the volume with their own custom voice. There's a process to go through it. You have to go through an application. You have to get approval through Microsoft. But once you get into this world, creating your own neural voice is actually pretty straightforward and very easy to control. So you can, you get a script, you get your professional voice, you can do it yourself if you wanted to. For my taste, if I were to have my own neural voice, a combination of maybe James Earl Jones and the Frontline guy, I'd like that. And so it's really easy to go through. The question I have now is, in the Uber ride, what neural voice should we have?
See, I still think that Paul Bettany would be a great one, just because we could get Jarvis. But I think this is very important, because even though this is 2021, this is key to everybody out there who's doing this. Cast a voice actor, and then make sure that you get permission statements and that you've actually negotiated that correctly. maybe that's a lesson that our friends over at OpenAI can take, because it's very critical that you make sure that you're actually, representing these people properly that are donating these voices to these things. In an age when we have AI, we got to think about the people who actually use their voice to make a living, and we need to make sure that we're not exploiting them or manipulating them. So that is some key advice right there in the prepare statement. And then Steve Hughes, looking forward to seeing the custom neural voice applications improve to support those of us who have trouble speaking. Absolutely, Steve. There's so many wonderful opportunities with AI, and this is a really, really key one. But when you get through the prepare, and one of the key things is you make sure that you do that right, then you go to the create and integrate, Andreas. And I love it that you've got the steps laid out for this. You're right. This is an evergreen article. In that this is advice and guidance that you can use throughout time on here. I didn't know if you had anything else to add. I see you. Okay, you're looking good.
Oh no, you love it. Thank you. I'm looking forward to riding in Josh's Uber with my own custom neural voice in there.
I'm looking forward to setting up a data activator bot that has a custom neural voice that welcomes people into Josh's car. But speaking of things that I want Josh to welcome us into, Josh has got the Azure database for MySQL July 2024 updates with the latest feature roadmap, including a nice little video that is embedded here by the PMs. Josh, what do we got going on for Azure SQL database? I'm sorry, Azure MySQL database.
Well, is it my turn to talk now, right? Because you guys are committing everything going in my car. I'm not sure. Is it my turn?
So, Brad, what do you think about the odds this weekend? That I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just thinking we could cover this for him, and then we could plug how people want to use him as an Uber. I mean, unless Josh wants to give the update.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's gone. He's out of here.
No.
Oh, folks, it's a first. Josh Luedeman has left the building. Oh, there he's back.
Okay, he's back.
Is it my turn now? Because I was ready to answer who the voice is going to be that's going to be nice and as welcoming as I want to be when y'all want to ride in my car, because these guys think it's funny to make
who's the voice?
A voluntold Uber. It's going to be F. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket. God rest his soul. You're going to get in the car. Shut up, you little maggot. Sit down. There you go. That's the voice of my Uber. And I really meant it. If
James Phillips said they got Snoop to announce Data Saturday hashtag. I like that. That's a good find. I don't know. Have y'all ever, and I'm sorry, I'm going to sidetrack this for just a minute, but have you ever watched the Olympic reviews that they do on NBC with Kevin Hart? The first time they did that, no shade on Kenan Thompson. I love some Kenan Thompson, but the first time they did it, it was Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart. And Snoop Dogg is one of the funniest human beings I've ever seen before in my life doing that stuff. I want more Snoop Dogg, Kevin Hart in my life, and NBC has failed to give us that ever since the 2020 Olympics.
The 2020 Olympics, Snoop Dogg doing like after sport, like catch-ups.
Yeah.
And he did equestrian. If
I know.
You haven't seen him getting fired up because a damn horse starts crip walking, you ain't lived. Yeah. He's like, oh, he crip walking. He's like, oh, damn.
I know when he was like, get that horse for my next video.
I honestly was waiting too for like a horse to show up on a Snoop video. It was.
I was waiting for that too. One day. We can all dream. Sorry, back to MySQL Azure SQL database.
No, I wanted to hit the major updates here from the July update. Major version upgrades for MySQL. Oh, Brad, go back up. I'm on the big ones at the top.
Oh, gotcha. Big news.
Flexible servers and burstable, and also Key Vault managed on the hardware security module. Again, we're all about security. Making all of our services more secure. And then the one that I love, support for up to an 8 terabyte in a single table file. As someone who earlier in my career worked at a software company where streaming events were captured in our MySQL database from the application telemetry, I love this. because one of the jobs that always used to die on me was the one that dumped the table before it got too big, because other than it would crap out. So loved seeing that.
Absolutely. And then we've got some feature roadmap items. Sorry, I was diving there first. Let me go ahead, zoom in on this so that way you can cover this.
No, yeah. And we've got on-demand backup and export, the flexible maintenance options, including reschedule, on-demand maintenance. Those are both going to be generally available in Q3 at this point. And then in public preview now, you've got Virtual Canary, which is basically who wants to stay at the front, and on the most current version. So you can opt into this public preview again in Q3. And then the near zero downtime to reduce maintenance downtime for HA and stuff like that. That is coming up as well. Okay. Yeah, that we're looking at general availability in Q4, long-term backup retention, error logs in the server logs. In Q4 as well for general availability. But you can go out here and see all the great stuff going on in the roadmap. A lot of good stuff out there. And just about all of it. I think the last one was not the customer managed key one, but all of them are in public preview today.
Well, and one thing I would say is, and I haven't said it before now, so I want to make sure and say it now. While we were talking, I was a little late in getting these out there, but I have put every single one of these links in the description of the video. If they aren't there for you, just refresh the page. You're going to see every single one of these links. So please go and check out the content of these wonderful creators in our community. Josh, go ahead.
But you know what link's not going to be there? The link to sign up for my Uber. Thank you, folks. Have a great week.
Of course, that's in the Uber app. Don't worry, Josh. We've got you covered on that one. Andreas, me, Neeraj, Dan, we've got Project Get Josh in an Uber. Tons of you're going to be stacked up. So many people are going to want to ride in your car.
I just built up the data activator thing for Josh.
Nice.
You need my registration, my VIN, and my car insurance. You ain't getting any of that shit, boys.
That's okay. At least he'll give it to me.
I got your VIN picture. I sent it to Missy in case you kidnapped me.
No, I'll text her right now and tell her that the boys are going to ask for the registration information because they want to make your car an Uber. You want to get her to not answer your calls ever again? There you go.
Okay, so one more time before we go, I want to plug our podcast, Mentally Stable-ish. One of the things we're doing is we're on an adventure to have some really good, deep conversations with one another. Part of that effort is for us to be able to grow as human beings. We always talk about doing this stuff. And one thing I want to note is that all of us, as we're having these discussions, this has turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful thing where it's helped me grow. It's helped me be a little more honest in the way that we've communicated back and forth with one another. I know we've all kind of noted that ourselves, but we're also doing this very fun series for Live 360. And as a matter of fact, let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up my schedule just so I can let you know what's going on. So we're going to make sure that this is out on LinkedIn very soon. But if you are looking at going to Live 360 on the 9th of September, we will be having a Live 360 AI track where we're going to dive into the AI track at Live 360. And I still need to confirm him, but hopefully with the conference chair, Andrew Burst, Thomas Larock, myself, Dan, Josh, and Neeraj, if they are available. And then on the 23rd of September, we are looking at cloud and containers with the track lead Rockford Lakota. On the 7th of October, we're looking at cybersecurity and ransomware with the track leads Sammy Liao and David Kowali. And I can't wait. I'm super excited for that track because it's always been one that interests me greatly. On the 21st, we have the data platform track hosted by Tom LaRock, who is the conference chair. We're going to have special guests Buck Woody and Bob Ward, who will both be at Live 360 joining us for that broadcast. And then on the 7th of November, the last week before we skip, and then we're at Live 360, we're going to have from GitHub, Mr. Brian Randall, who is the conference chair for the Visual Studio Live portion, talking about the different development options and capabilities that we have there. We're going to do that every other week on Monday, so you want to make sure and check that out. And we are weekly dropping Mentally Stable-ish on Tuesday. So that is already out there. Go to mentallystablish.com or go on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts and check them out. Guys, anything else that we need to cover? Looking good. All right. Well,
yeah. One thing. Hug your loved ones. Hug your loved ones. Hug your loved ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. But never know how much time you got. Love the people and make sure that they know that you love them. All right. So for Daniel Taylor, Mr. Joshua Luedeman, Andreas Padilla, and Neeraj Jhaveri, I'm Bradley Ball. Thank you so much for joining us on Tales from the Field. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.